cutting corporate income tax, and I'm curious about, in San Francisco, their minimum wage is about a buck higher than the state level. Would you support increasing the minimum wage for working families?
Minimum wage was just increased.
Right.
And I would say that, you know, we should look at that again at some point, but we just did it, and I wouldn't advocate doing it right now. Increasing the minimum wage, and the Congress just did it, and I think they did the right thing. I'm not suggesting they didn't, but increasing the minimum wage is always a trade-off. And we'll have to look at how this works, this increase works. It does mean that some wages go up, but sometimes it means that some jobs fall away. So you got to take a look, and the way Congress did it, if I recall correctly, is they're phasing it in at about 70 cents a year to bring it up to its maximum. So the wise thing to do would be to take a look at how does it work. Is it actually helping people? Is it costing jobs? And then that can tell you more about should you raise it any further. I was glad that I mentioned that in San Francisco because I think this was a little bit like, the old news story about the boy biting the dog makes news. I think mentioning it in San Francisco, it got more attention. I've been talking about lowering the corporate tax for about 3 or 4 weeks, and nobody covers it. But I think people thought it was unusual that I would say it in San Francisco. And I'm glad that it did get out. The reality is that would be a very important thing that the president could do to support the dollar. It would be a very important thing that the president could do to kind of give more liquidity to our economy. It would help even with this whole pressure that's coming from the credit problems. Our corporate tax rate is the second highest in the world. We should lower it from 35% to 25%. That would put us in a competitive position. We still wouldn't have the lowest, but it would put us in a competitive position. We would gain jobs. We would gain money. We'd strengthen the dollar, and it would be a good step. And I think there's even some Democratic support for this, because I think even Democrats understand that this could be maybe our most anti-competitive tax. And the president of France wants to lower the corporate tax in France, and the corporate tax in France is lower than the United States. So I think this is something that could actually happen, and it would help our economy right now. It would shore it up in so many ways.
Last question.